he don't know one day when he meets that sister and he can help her. She said, he's a man. The father does that. Where are those parents? Where's the mother that says, even without the father around, I want him to be like his degeneracy and this sexual madness that we call homosexuality comes from? That would derange the mind of a black man so much he wouldn't want a black woman. He want a male. Or derange the mind of a black woman. Good news, the origin of this don't have nothing to do with us. The bad news is we're not dealing with the origins today. We're dealing about what's happening to us, and we have to resist this. So let's go to the origin. You're going to hear me use a term today called white sex. It's a synonym for perversion. Any act of sexual deviance, perversion, molestation, bestiality, orgies, sadomasochism, interracial sex. All of these things were things that were foreign to African people before they were brought in and forced on us. Now, one of the things I always say, I can show you better than I can tell you. I just made a very loaded statement. And if I came up here and told you that there was no history of homosexuality in Africa, and it originates with Europeans, some people, particularly my brothers and sisters who are heavily Christian, they say, no, this has been around the beginning of the world, blah, blah, blah. So I say, you know what? I'm a black man. And y'all done showed us a lot of love, but I know this no matter where we go. If I tell you, you're going to question me. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to step back and let the Europeans speak for themselves. Man, black man, woman, black woman. Complementary partners in the journey of life. That's what it was. That's who we are. That's why we love our mamas to death. Say somebody, you can talk all you want to say some black man. Say something about his mama though. It is what is happening to black people, because all those stuff I showed you in the beginning wasn't no Europeans. Those were black people. At least their skin was black, but on the inside something's happened. So now, I gotta take you on a tour with me. Clean. Now we couldn't even wash. You imagine a sister on her cycle, or 100 sisters on their cycles, and they can't move. You would be a man hearing your women screaming, and the sense of your manhood not being able to protect the women, and the children screaming. Or how about the women hearing the men screaming? Because of things that they were doing us on these ships. They would rape anything that would move. And anything that they intended to subdue, they would rape. And most of them, when you do the research, almost all of them, I have not found one slave trader that wasn't a homosexual and a pedophile. From Christopher Columbus on down, I haven't found one. Which meant they had their way with the women, the men, and the children. Because when you chained up, no matter how tough you are, they're not feeding you. So you're not getting your strength, you're not getting nourishment. And this was not one or two of our people. In fact, they killed so many of our people and threw them overboard that the Atlantic sharks stopped hunting for food in the ocean and began to follow the pattern of the slave ships. And their migration patterns to this day, hundreds of years after this, is the same migration pattern. In Cole, you were from different groups. And they said, no, that's not who you are. I got a new title for you. And that new title is nigger. It means you have no rights to self-respect. You have no rights to exist. And you do whatever we say. You have no value. And many of our people would get their backs ripped out before they would accept a new identity. I'm an African. I will always be an African. I will always be an Ashanti. I will always be a Zulu. I will always be whatever group they were part of. No. You can't starve yourself. Because I got something on you the other end. So they would bang out our teeth with chisels and shove muzzles in and push the slop in. Because see, this was only the beginning of the voyage. They didn't want us physically dead. They wanted us spiritually dead. Yes. They wanted us psychologically dead because they wanted us to work. And they wanted us to take our brilliance and work for them. Build for them what we had built for ourselves. And not be paid. And not take part in it. So sometimes the self-respect, now men were shined up like we like to shine our cars. You know our brothers like to have their shine cars real nice. So you can look, they would shine us up so that the Europeans could come for auction, where they could bid on our ancestors, men, women, and children, and take them back to their plantations to work us literally to death, working to death, if we were lucky. Because see, we hear about slavery and us working in the fields, but they don't tell us the whole story. they also had what they call sex farms. And a lot of them were in the islands. A lot of them were on the mainland as well. But these were places where the real effeminization of the black male, the stripping of manhood really, really occurs. Because the man's job is to protect his women and children. That's just the policy the Creator put down. That's what we're supposed to do. It's natural and innate. And in this place, they would train a black male. He wouldn't fight for the life or the protection of the women. He wouldn't fight, give his life or take a life for it. He was now the salesman of the sexual exploits of his own women. Sex farms. White males would come to purchase sexual favors from the black female. And like any salesman at a retail store, oh, you know her? And you want to take her? You can give me a few dollars here and go try her out and see you'll really enjoy this one. Well, what about this one over here? And then he would go around and show, oh, that one there, she's never been as much as kissed. So and that's I don't know if you have enough money for her. The manhood was gone. You'll now be trained to teach the young girls, 8 to 15, somewhere in that period. Teach them to gyrate and dance and make themselves look like sexually appealing objects for the Europeans who would want to come and purchase them. And so he was given nice clothing. That which was supposed to be sacred and protected most by us as males did not define manhood. Instead, exploiting, disregarding, and dehumanizing our daughters was looked at as something exciting and exhilarating. Their homes and do as they would with them until they were done with them. And when they got to a point they didn't like them at that age, they would either kill them, send them out to go fend for themselves. Many of them would die because they didn't know how to fend for themselves, or they would just kill them, just depending on what they wanted to do. And this was during slavery. Could you believe that they would actually take our children, our sons, back to their own private sex farms where they could do what they wanted to do with our sons? This is when we had lost our manhood, when we were not conscious of our responsibility to at all costs protect our women. We have to be able to listen to our scholars because they can make things clear to us. Freedom fighters saying, let's figure a way to get our people free. And so they say, we got to stop it there. And so they do it. Can you imagine a child watching this, not knowing what this means? Not even being sexually, they don't know anything about sex yet. Because I want you to see, I'm going to show you something. He was selected because they could not push this homosexual agenda, which is a genocide agenda on African people worldwide, with a white face.
That's right.
So they gave us a half black face, in blackface, because that's all it is, blackface. To go to the African continent, I don't know if you know, in almost every, Ghana, Zambia, all these countries, $250 million here, $350 million of aid from the United States will not be given unless you accept homosexuality. They even going in trying to overthrow nations of the leaders who won't accept it. In Gambia, brother Yahya Jammeh, His Excellency. So we won't accept this. They went in there and tried to do a coup. His troops were so loyal that they caught the guys doing it, broke into their computer and found out every country that was involved, all of them European countries, and found out exactly what the plan was. So we got Africans fighting. We have brother, we call him the leader of the African world, brother Robert Mugabe, who been fighting this since 1996. They came to Zimbabwe and said, listen, we want to have a homosexual book fair. He said, you can have it. It's not in Zimbabwe. Germany and other parts of the world have said, you got to pay black folks reparations. We done looked at the white folks are saying, you got to pay them reparations. Obama said, we ain't coming till you take reparations off the table. I got the article in the Washington Post from it. I don't be making up nothing. I can show you, but I can tell you. But get the Dear Obama, you can go online and order it, free download. I mean, not free, but download. You get this and you'll see that. So I don't have time to go into the whole thing, but this is what we are facing. So I just want to show you, because I don't want people to leave. The two are married together. Interracial dating, homosexuality, you put them together. Black men is not with a black woman. He's with a white female or another male. You're not producing black children.
That's right.
Killing the race. We get yellow now. Is pornography becoming prevalent in your environment? A bunch of people watching pornography and starting to take it as like, I'm going to see a movie or pornography. When it starts to do that, that means it's deeper than it's coming. That means, because see, pornography is the doorway to white sex. It opens the African mind that otherwise you have a partner, you know, y'all do whatever y'all do. But you getting ideas through this stuff that always eventually involve two women with each other. Or two guys, it's an expression of lesbianism, which is the sexual expression of the intellectual idea. It means that men and women are in a war with one another. The female who says, women, we have a lot of issues and there's a lot of misogyny and we have to deal with women's and women's and women's. You keep hearing women, that means lesbian, lesbian, lesbian. Yeah. That means lesbians are in the environment, they're infecting the minds of the women and have the women looking at the world, instead of being a war between black people and white folks fighting for power, it's a war between men and women. And they decided they fighting with the women. Well, if you fighting with the women, all right, let me tell you how it works. And people don't tell people this. When you start seeing young people constantly involved in violent crime, this is what happens. You have homosexuals and pedophiles that are raping children. Particularly the boys do not want to say anything because they feel like there's something wrong with them. But they angry because somebody did something to them. How does that expression come out? They start becoming violent and lashing out. So they'll rob somebody, they'll hit it because this is happening and nobody. What happens is, you know, youth are impressionable on each other. So if you got two young boys who've been sexually violated, they angry and mad, but they're the most aggressive, the other young brothers, even if they haven't been sexually abused, begin to hang with those young brothers. Now you got groups that are going out and fighting, but nobody's gotten to the source of where this is coming from. So all of a sudden you have a youth violence problem where you never had it before, but you don't know where it's coming from. It's coming from these homosexuals, lesbians, and pedophiles that are in our community that we don't want to talk about, that we want to hide and hush hush. No, we got to root them out. Personalities begun to endorse homosexuality. When your public figure's doing that, what that means is either three things. Either they have no idea what's going on and they just doing it because they're getting pressure to do it, or they're involved in it.
Homosexual, I've never seen homosexual frogs. I have cattle, I've never seen homosexual gay cattle. And homosexuality is detrimental to human existence. It's un-African, it's unethical, it's ungodly. Go to the Bible and the Quran. We are Muslims and we believe in the Almighty Allah and what He says. Whatever Allah says is haram, we will make sure it's haram to the letter. I don't care what they feel about me. I didn't introduce the death penalty here. I found it here. And the British brought the death penalty to the Gambia. Before colonialism, there was no death penalty in Africa. Don't you know that? Go to history.
But it's also said that, it is also said, Mr. President, that it was the colonials who brought in the laws against homosexuality into Africa, and Africans have maintained and kept those laws. So to be truly African would be to remove those laws forbidding homosexuality and to remove the death penalty.
Are you attributing that homosexuality is African?
There are some Africans who say so.
Yeah. Now, in the slave trade, doesn't Africans capture people in the bush? So those are the same type of Africans that we still have that they use against us. So I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, but homosexuality is un-African. And let me also make it very clear. Even if the whole world accepts it, I will not accept it in the government. They don't want to accept it.
And that's a black man, right? We're going to do all kind of sanctions and we're going to pull. He said, we'll eat grass. He said, but we're not going to go into your homosexuality. You try to overthrow his nation. So let's get into the agenda, because how many people would agree this is a crisis situation? All right, so we got an island full of African people that say we're ready to go. Left, what have we done? This is what we've done. We've gone worldwide and we've talked to people, and different groups around the world said we need an African agenda. However, we got to start with something simple, because if we try to get too complex, we have too many differences. We began by talking about all the differences, and what we realized is going to go on forever. So we said, you know what? We need something where people can keep their religion. However, we don't discuss it. Because a Muslim is not going to convince a Christian to be a Muslim, and a Christian not. So instead of debating things that we're not going to agree on, that's not really that important to what the issues are, we said, let's agree on this. I mean, we're not going to care with this platform what your religion is. The only caveat, it's not in writing, but one thing we did agree, because I told them, when we got on the conversation, I said, look, I have nothing against anybody for their religion. Only thing, and then y'all can hold this against me if you want, but I'm not messing with nobody that said they're a devil worshiper. I mean, normal black person. We said we need a platform for an everyday black person where we can come together as brothers and sisters and work together. So we said, I just wanted to show this brother one of the books and resources that you would need for your colleges and universities. Our brother Malimu Baruti, Homosexuality and Feminization of African Males. We also have what things African people still have in common that are simple, that we can unite on and leave all these differences in politics, religion, all that stuff out of the way. And we came on straight. And what straight means is, real simple, we don't agree with homosexuality, we don't agree with pedophilia, none of this European white sex stuff that we talk about. We ain't with that. We said we're not even negotiating it. We're creating an identity for the type of black person we want in the room. So in other words, as long as you straight, we're not asking you what your past has been, and it's real simple. Sister, do you believe a woman should be with a man? Yes. Brother, you believe a man should be with a woman? Yes. A consenting man with a consenting woman? Yes. All right, you straight then. What you think about somebody molesting a child? That's a problem. It's a crime. Okay. What you think about homosexuality? It's a moral crime to an African brother. Okay, we good. Alone isolates some of the insanity that we dealing with, and this was mostly done for black women. One of the issues we had, this is an international issue. Our women told us, we are sick and tired of investing in you our whole life, and the minute you get something, you go out and marry somebody that don't look like us. And we had to say, you are right, the right behavior. What we are saying is that in this world that we are creating for ourselves, in this agenda, the only thing that we know is a benefit of being born on this planet. Right now, if you're born black, I don't know any benefit, and I'm not talking about a benefit of how beautiful and strong we are as a race and your benefit that's provided by this world to you. Everything is more difficult if you're black. More difficult. We can't walk around with our pants hanging off our behinds and have a platform that works. Sister, if I can see everything you got and you want me to respect you, we have a clash. To get up and say, listen, if we're going to be a people that's saying we're going to defend our interests and family, we need to look like family means something to us. We used to dress